From mysterious labyrinths created by nature itself to colossal underground structures built by humankind in ancient times, the world beneath our feet holds far more secrets than we can imagine. Today, we will embark on a thrilling journey through underground corridors, tunnels, and caves to discover the eerie and sometimes truly shocking findings that have been uncovered there. You are on the Top Facts Black channel, and before we begin, do not forget to like and subscribe. Perhaps we should start with these small and sometimes not so small reptiles. Snakes, as we know, are excellent at hiding in the soil and creating their own pathways, which help them endure scorching weather or hide from potential predators. They lay out these narrow tunnels beneath the Earth's surface, often right under our feet in the garden, at a country house, or even near a house foundation. That is why, when we calmly step outside behind the house, we do not always realize that beneath the thin layer of soil, there might be small rooms or tunnels where snakes hide. Typically, their burrows are round openings that can vary in diameter and sometimes extend several meters deep. In arid regions, such shelters help snakes retain moisture and hide from the midday heat. Additionally, many people remain unaware of these underground apartments until they accidentally discover them while plowing land or renovating a yard. Therefore, it is best to contact specialists if you suspect uninvited guests under the ground. This story from Poland, in a sense, proves that grand discoveries sometimes happen literally beneath our feet, especially when it comes to centuries-old constructions. In Warsaw, the country's capital, workers once uncovered a mysterious underground passage during the restoration of the Saxon Palace. It ran at a depth of several meters, and there were no references to it in the archival blueprints or plans of the palace. For example, it is known that this palace served as the headquarters of the Polish army during the time of the Second World War. Later, scientists determined that the passage might have been used for transmitting secret messages and for the discreet movement of important documents or individuals. The structure turned out to be lined with sturdy bricks, likely specially ordered from a local brickworks, as indicated by stamps on the material. Amazingly, the tunnel was discovered not through scheduled research, but almost by accident. If not for the construction work, no one would ever have learned of it. Clearly, the history of the Saxon Palace still hides many mysteries buried deep underground. Now let us move to Egypt, where one might think all archaeological surprises have already been found. Not so. The famous Giza pyramids continue to amaze even now. Researchers pay special attention to the Great Pyramid, which has guarded the secrets of its internal structure for many centuries. A few years ago, scientists detected a special tunnel within the Great Pyramid. They used innovative scanning technologies and special devices that allow them to see through the ancient structure. Yet, the mystery remains. No one knows exactly why it was created. Experts propose various theories. Perhaps it was part of a ritual passageway, a hidden corridor for priests, or a sort of relieving chamber. However, there is no direct evidence, and even today, we encounter the enigmas left behind by the ancient Egyptians and realize that their engineering capabilities were far more remarkable than historians believed for many years. When it comes to horrifying discoveries in tunnels, one may sometimes hear tales of strange creatures supposedly caught on film by enthusiastic explorers. One popular viral video showed a group of people venturing into a sewer and encountering a creepy being that looked almost alien. In the footage, the camera lens seems to catch movement ahead, and then something leaps out, completely unlike any usual animal. Later, it turned out that it was a staged video, created specifically to draw attention to the issue of improper waste disposal and what could break through from the drainage system. So fortunately, there is no real monster to fear. But we should remember genuine dangers. Toxic gases, chemicals, and other unpleasant surprises can accumulate in flooded tunnels and sewer systems. Chasing pseudo-monsters, while truly risking your safety, is clearly not the best idea. Moving on, we cannot ignore one of the most sinister discoveries in the history of underground exploration. Gough's Cave, located in Great Britain, gained grim notoriety due to a series of bones found there. Scientists who studied these remains reached a shocking conclusion. These people in ancient times had been victims of cannibalism. Not only were scattered bones discovered deep in the cave, but also skulls that someone had carefully fashioned into cups. Everything pointed to a ritual practice. After the deceased's body was dismembered, the skull was prepared in such a way as to be used as drinking vessels. Why exactly our distant ancestors did this remains unknown. It may have been part of a religious ceremony or a desperate survival tactic under brutal conditions. This macabre detail underscores how astonishing human customs can be in different eras. We can only guess what these rituals looked like and what drove people to such extreme actions. From time to time, even well-studied places can yield genuine sensations. This happened when a group of archaeologists excavating a cave in Indonesia discovered strange human remains. At first glance, nothing special. But they belonged to adult humans of extremely short stature, barely more than 1 meter tall. The scientific community dubbed them hobbits, inspired by popular literature. Initially, researchers believed they were ordinary people suffering from a rare disease. However, subsequent bone analysis indicated that this might have been a separate population of hominids, capable of adapting to challenging conditions. They apparently disappeared due to natural factors. It was hard for them to survive among larger competitors and dangerous predators. The story of these hobbits is not closed. Researchers continue to debate the nature of these tiny people. It reminds us how diverse human evolution could have been and how many secrets it still holds. People have always settled where they can protect themselves from harsh conditions or arrange a shelter. In China, for instance, communities known as cave dwellers still live this way. They do not simply dig shallow hollows, but construct entire homes extending into the rock or underground. There can be various reasons for living like this. On the one hand, it is a tradition. Such homes are passed down through generations. On the other hand, some are forced to live this way due to a lack of alternatives or the excessively high cost of conventional housing. And in arid regions, subterranean life helps maintain cool temperatures and conserve resources. The main challenge is acquiring water, and lighting there is also special. Yet many families have learned to live comfortably in these conditions, creating a genuine underground oasis. Similar communities exist not only in China, but in many parts of the world where severe climates force people to seek refuge beneath the surface. A vast city in Mexico has repeatedly surprised archaeologists as it contains ancient temples and pyramids concealing a network of winding tunnels. In one such tunnel, experts discovered a veritable treasury of tens of thousands of artifacts dating back many centuries. Archaeologists proceeded carefully, using robotic mechanisms to avoid damaging the soil structure, and when they finally made it deeper inside, they were greeted by an incredible sight. Stone figurines, jewelry, pottery, fragments of sculptures, and even unknown ritual objects strewn everywhere. Some scientists believe that this cache may have led to royal burials or was used as part of sacred ceremonies. This finding demonstrated that the underground world can be akin to a giant vault, where time stands still and historical treasures lie in wait for discovery. Each newly uncovered artifact here represents another piece of knowledge about how our ancestors lived and what they believed in. One of the most astonishing subterranean sites discovered in Mexico is often called a miracle of nature. There, in deep mines, lies an enormous chamber filled with gigantic selenite crystals. These crystals reach several meters in length, with some so massive that a person standing next to them appears minuscule. However, this place is dangerous to explore. The temperature inside is extremely high, and the humidity is so great that remaining there without specialized equipment is extremely difficult. This discovery, which amazed the entire world, demonstrated just how unique underground conditions can be. In this microclimate, the minerals grew uninterrupted for thousands of years, forming what can only be described as otherworldly landscapes. Even now, the cave remains a formidable challenge for scientists. Yet each visit yields new data and helps us understand how such unusual natural formations come to be and how ancient geological processes can produce incomparable beauty. Let us move to Europe, where perhaps the most famous catacombs today are in Paris. This incredible network of underground corridors was created because the local cemeteries were overflowing, and it became the final resting place for many people. The remains of millions are arranged here in endless rows of skulls and bones. Today, part of the catacombs is open to tourists. However, the grim atmosphere and the sheer quantity of human remains have given rise to legends about ghosts, secret gatherings, and supernatural events. It is hardly surprising that these catacombs have gained the status of one of Europe's spookiest places. Those who dare to enter unauthorized areas sometimes speak of strange discoveries, messages left behind by someone, mysterious altars, and even homemade sculptures. The darkness and monolithic walls can easily play tricks on the imagination, making one lose track of time and space. Possibly one of the most unsettling stories is linked specifically with the underground space beneath Paris. Rumor has it that while a group of explorers was studying another section of the catacombs, they came upon strange sculptures, apparently carved by unknown hands in total darkness. According to eyewitness accounts, these figures resembled ancient cult statues, yet their origin is entirely unclear. Why they stand there, who created them, and for what rituals they were intended remains an enigma. It is reminiscent of those situations where historical context has been completely lost, and we can only theorize, piecing together details from different eras. For some, such discoveries are more frightening than intriguing. They exude a dark mystery and an uneasy sense that not everything in the subterranean world is subject to our understanding. If we speak of a relatively recent time span, the period of the Second World War provided historians with numerous mysteries. The wartime government of Germany actively constructed various underground sites, including fortified bunkers and secret tunnels, which in theory could serve not only as shelters, but as the final refuge for the country's leadership. Among such places is a complex in Bavaria, a kind of resort complex, where high-ranking officials and military personnel could rest. According to documents, there were residential quarters underground, connected by a network of tunnels and alternative exits. By one version, at the end of the war, these underground facilities might have been used in a large-scale evacuation effort, hiding from the advancing Allied forces. Such discoveries make one wonder about the scope of plans formulated by historical regimes. Underground and away from prying eyes, they tried to create additional lines of defense or even strategic reserves in the event of total collapse. Underground tunnels are a real gift for those who want to travel unnoticed, especially in the illicit trade. Along the border between the United States and some Central and South American countries, authorities have repeatedly found long passages dug by criminal organizations for smuggling narcotics and other contraband. The lengths of some tunnels are mind-boggling. They can stretch hundreds of meters, be outfitted with ventilation systems, and sometimes even rails for transporting large loads. All of this is done to bypass border controls and continue illegal activities. Whenever these tunnels are found, law enforcement agencies immediately shut them down. But there is always the possibility that deep beneath the earth, there are others yet to be discovered. This is one reason why authorities are investing in new technologies to scan the soil and detect underground structures. It vividly shows that criminal minds will stop at nothing, even if it takes years of clandestine digging to remain invisible. An equally strange story awaits us in Liverpool, where once lived a wealthy man named Joseph Williamson. He became famous for building houses on his property and then, for some reason, ordering the excavation of numerous tunnels beneath them. Their branching network extends deep underground in every direction. No exact records of Williamson's motivations survive. Some believe he simply wanted to provide jobs for unemployed locals and so instructed them to dig. Others are certain there was a hidden purpose, possibly linked to trade or religious beliefs. Nowadays, a group of enthusiasts is clearing parts of these tunnels, hoping to understand the logic behind this monumental subterranean project. In popular culture, these tunnels have even appeared as a location associated with time travel, for instance, in one episode of a well-known series. But the real explanation is probably more down to earth, though no less fascinating for researchers. Now we turn to a truly grim episode. Imagine walking through an old tunnel in a northern state of America, only to stumble upon something horrifying: human remains. That is exactly what people found in one of the underground passages in Idaho. A human torso missing its head. Who was this individual, and why was he there? It remained a mystery for a long time. Only much later did DNA analysis identify him. It turned out he was a fugitive convict, sentenced for murdering his own wife. The entire story is riddled with questions. Who killed him, and why was his head removed? Possibly, the convict's own criminal undertakings led to this shocking end. This discovery reminds us that underground, we may encounter not only ancient artifacts, but also tragic evidence of human crimes. Tunnels can become places where past secrets re-emerge in the most unexpected and unsettling ways. Metropolises also have their hidden face, and San Francisco is no exception. City infrastructure, storm drains, old collectors, all of these tunnels beneath the streets can spark an adventurer's curiosity. That is what happened with a photographer who once saw a partially open manhole and decided to go down with a camera to capture the unknown spaces. He discovered that beneath San Francisco lies an extensive system for rainwater drainage and sewage. The photographer ventured deeper at his own risk, showcasing mesmerizing images of tunnels built with brick or concrete slabs. Yet, as with many such places, there is serious danger of flooding, collapse, or exposure to toxic gases. Meanwhile, local water management services regularly patrol these systems because any malfunction could spell disaster for the entire city. Of course, a few people sneak inside out of curiosity, but the risks in such expeditions are far greater than it might seem. Inner Mongolia, located in northern China, became the site of a sensational discovery when researchers stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient stone city that existed thousands of years ago. This city had mighty walls, defensive structures, and a cleverly designed system of underground tunnels. Scientists believe that these tunnels served not only for launching surprise attacks against enemies, but also for evacuating civilians in the event of a siege. Additional tunnels may have led to wells or hidden supplies of provisions, making the city nearly impregnable. Such finds shed light on the military thinking of the past. Even in deep antiquity, people knew how to use the natural landscape effectively and modify it to suit their needs, constructing entire underground realms for defense and protection. Ants, as small as they may be, are among the best builders on our planet. In one region of Brazil, scientists discovered a colossal subterranean colony where the network of tunnels could house a community of millions of insects. All the passages are laid out in such a way that worker ants can efficiently transport food, materials, and maintain ventilation and temperature regulation. The organization of the ants' home is astonishing. Every corridor leads to a specific chamber used for storing grains, growing fungi, or raising larvae. Essentially, it is a genuine underground city, often appearing, when excavated, even more complex than some human projects. Ants provide an amazing example of how collective intelligence and persistent labor can create a sustainable infrastructure. Their tunnels serve as a perfect demonstration of natural engineering, undisturbed for as long as the colony thrives. Now, a bit about mysticism. There is a story from Japan saying that in one abandoned tunnel dating back to the time of the Second World War, researchers were measuring radiation levels. According to rumor, the group suddenly encountered a mysterious female figure disappearing into the darkness. A video circulated online showing a flickering flashlight and a suspiciously perfect moment when the ghost beckons the viewers. It all looks staged. If you look carefully, you can see jumps in quality and strange transitions when the spectral figure appears. Nonetheless, stories about ghosts in such tunnels are not unusual. Historical events, battles, and defensive structures create a special backdrop for rumors. People sometimes willingly take risks to prove or disprove myths. But remember, these tunnels are dangerous even without ghosts. Collapses and oxygen deprivation are very real threats. Finally, let us return to astonishing natural discoveries. Under Montreal in Canada, explorers once happened upon a hidden cave entirely by accident. Researchers date this cave back to the glacial period. Remarkably, it was situated near the well-known St. Leonard Caverns, yet remained sealed off from human eyes behind limestone walls for ages. When enthusiasts broke through the rock, they found themselves in a vast natural corridor estimated to be thousands of years old. To move farther inside, they had to navigate a watery section. Groundwater had created an underground lake, crossable only by canoe. It remains unclear how far this cave extends. What is truly chilling is the thought that beneath a busy modern city may lie ancient landscapes, preserved in an untouched state since the time of the Great Glaciation. Who knows what other secrets are waiting beneath us while we go about our daily lives in the concrete jungle above? Thus ends our journey through the mysteries and horrors hidden in the underground tunnels of various corners of the planet. From ancient rituals and unusual creatures to colossal engineering marvels, each tunnel or cave has its own legend and can present a surprise that defies imagination. Which of these points seemed the most frightening to you? Or perhaps you know an even more shocking tale of an underground discovery?